Imagine this. You're standing at a funeral, heartbroken for someone you care about. You want so desperately to offer comfort, to say the perfect thing that eases their immense pain. But as the words form, a tiny voice in your head whispers, "What if I say the wrong thing?" Funerals are a minefield of emotion, and even with the purest intentions, some phrases, some seemingly innocent attempts at comfort, can unintentionally cut deeper than any knife. What if the words you choose, meant to soothe, actually make their unbearable grief even worse? You see, in moments of profound loss, words carry an unimaginable weight. What might feel like a calming condolence can, for the person deep in the throes of grief, sound incredibly dismissive, insensitive, or even infuriating. It's not about what you mean to say. Everything happens for a reason. People often use this to try and make sense of tragedy, to find meaning in chaos. But often falls flat. I know how you feel. Even if you've experienced loss, even if you've lost a parent, a child, the phrase, "at least they're not suffering anymore," can sound incredibly cold and unfeeling to a mourner. It shifts the attention away from the immense, crushing pain of the person left behind and onto the deceased's suffering, helping them find resilience. It was their time, at least you still have. But what it often communicates is that they should hide their emotions. Grief is messy, chaotic, and unpredictable. While time does help in the process of adapting to loss, it absolutely does not erase the pain. This phrase can make people feel like they should hurry up and move on, or that their grief has an expiration date. The words you choose in these tender moments matter immensely. The wrong phrase, even if you mean well, can unknowingly add to someone's already unbearable pain. But the right words, simple, honest, empathetic phrases, or even just your quiet, understanding presence, can help someone feel seen, heard, and less alone in their darkest hour. If you're ever unsure what to say, remember, simplicity is your safest bet. "I'm so sorry for your loss" is always a valid and comforting phrase. And if words truly fail you, just listen. Sometimes a silent, empathetic presence is what people need most of all. What's one thing you've heard at a funeral that you wish people would never say? Share your thoughts below. But grief has no timeline. It's a lifelong process of learning to live with a new reality. Instead, let them know you're there for the long haul, that their pain is valid for as long as it lasts. Say, "Take all the time you need. I'm here whenever you want to talk or just need company." Your sustained presence is far more valuable than a platitude about time. It's okay to cry, to feel lost, to be angry, to break down. This phrase adds an unnecessary pressure at a time when people need unconditional support, not expectations about how they should feel or act. Instead, let them know it's okay to feel however they feel, whether that's strong, weak, or completely shattered. "It's okay to not be okay right now" can be far more comforting. People in grief need permission and space to feel sad, angry, lost, or completely heartbroken. They don't need to be told why they shouldn't feel that way. It was their time, and at least you still have. The first attempts to rationalize an unbearable loss, suggesting the death was somehow meant to be. For many, this doesn't help at all. In fact, it can ignite anger or frustration, especially if the death was sudden or tragic. The second, "at least you still have other family members, friends, memories, etc." is a dismissive comparison. While they do have other blessings, it doesn't replace the unique, irreplaceable person who is gone. Grief is about what's missing, the void left behind, not about what remains. Focus on listening to them, truly hearing their pain, rather than offering explanations or comparisons. Sometimes, profound silence is more comforting than 1,000 well-intended words. Instead, acknowledge their pain. "I'm so sorry you're going through this immense difficulty." A spouse, you can't know exactly how another person feels. While your heart is in the right place, this places the entire burden on the grieving person to initiate contact, to think of something, and then to actually ask. Most people in deep grief are overwhelmed, exhausted, and simply won't ask for help, even if they desperately need it. Instead, offer something specific and actionable. Can I bring you dinner this week? Would you like some company tomorrow afternoon? Can I pick up your kids from school? Small, concrete offers mean so much more than a vague open-ended invitation. Grief is deeply personal, a unique fingerprint of sorrow for each individual. This phrase, however well-intended, can inadvertently shift the focus from the person who's hurting to your own experience, making it about you instead of them. If you truly want to connect through shared experience, try. I can't imagine what you're going through, but I've experienced loss too, and I'm here for you. Or even simpler, I'm here for you no matter what. But in the crushing moment of loss, it rarely brings comfort. It can feel like you're brushing off someone's agonizing pain, suggesting their beloved's death was somehow necessary or part of some cosmic plan. Most grieving people aren't looking for a philosophical explanation. They just want their raw feelings recognized, their sorrow seen. Instead of trying to rationalize, simply offer your presence. Sometimes, just sitting quietly, holding a hand, or offering a tissue means infinitely more than any attempt at profound explanation. It's about how your words are received in their rawest moment of pain. And in a world where everyone struggles with grief, knowing what not to say is just as crucial as knowing what to say. The spiritual dismissal, they're in a better place. Yes, a long life is a blessing, something to appreciate. But this phrase, however true, unintentionally sounds like you're minimizing the colossal pain of losing someone. Imagine telling a child whose grandparent died at 95, at least they lived a long life. They're still missing their grandparent. Grief doesn't care about age, how many years were lived, or whether someone reached an arbitrary milestone. It cares about the gaping hole left behind. Instead of comparing, simply acknowledge the profound loss. Try, I know you'll miss them terribly. It's probably the most common phrase uttered at funerals, delivered with sincere comfort in mind. They're in a better place. On the surface, it sounds comforting, a nod to hope. But here's the quiet pain it can inflict. Not everyone shares the same spiritual beliefs about the afterlife. For many, especially in the immediate agony of loss, this statement feels dismissive of their very real, very present suffering. Grief isn't about where someone might be, it's about the agonizing reality that they are gone from here, right now. It sidesteps their pain, implying they shouldn't be so sad. Instead, a simple, honest, I'm so sorry for your loss acknowledges their pain without imposing your perspective. But that's not the only phrase that minimizes their feelings. The minimizing misstep, at least they lived a long life, another phrase that often comes from a well-meaning heart but lands with a thud is, at least they lived a long life. The philosophical blunder, everything happens for a reason few phrases cause as much silent fury as. The self-centered statement, I know how you feel this one is delivered with the intention of con. Action. The cold comfort. At least they're not suffering anymore, while it's true that death can often bring an end to physical pain or prolonged illness. The unhelpful demand, be strong when you tell someone to be strong. You might think you're encouraging them. The fatalistic fallacy and dismissive comparison, two phrases that fall into a similar trap are. The burden of help, let me know. If you need anything, this phrase is perhaps the most well-meaning, but also the least effective. Let me know if you need anything. The unrealistic timeline. Time heals all wounds. Finally, the classic. Time heals all wounds. Supporting grief with real compassion funerals and the period that follows are about honoring the person who's gone and, just as crucially, supporting those left behind. The words you choose in these tender moments matter immensely. The wrong phrase, even if you mean well, can unknowingly add to someone's already unbearable pain. But the right words, simple, honest, empathetic phrases, or even just your quiet, understanding presence, can help someone feel seen, heard, and less alone in their darkest hour. If you're ever unsure what to say, remember, simplicity is your safest bet. I'm so sorry for your loss is always a valid and comforting phrase. And if words truly fail you, just listen. Sometimes, a silent, empathetic presence is what people need most of all. What's one thing you've heard at a funeral that you wish people would never say? Share your thoughts below.